Christy already gave me a great introduction, so I'll kind of skip that, but I do want to let y'all know that I do have one of my team members with me today. And Gus is going to be on here monitoring the chat room to help all questions throughout. And so I'm going to let Gus jump on here and introduce himself so you'll know who he is.
Hey everybody, I'm Gus. I am a product consultant at Daxco. I work with Christy Swann. I'm in the implementation phase, so when you guys sign on with Daxco for Daxco operations, I walk you through the process of getting set up and getting launched. Super excited. See people like Tracy Baker, who I have so much love for. She was the best. But so many other people, other folks who I worked with on support and as a trainer. So super excited to be here and help out and assist however I can. But I will turn it back over to Christy Swann now.
So yeah, guys, just to kind of let you know, I do oversee the adoption program here at Daxco. And one of our goals within the adoption program is to make sure that y'all are maximizing the use of what's available in Daxco operations. That entails like a rundown. Today, we're going to go through some highlights of the rundown because we don't have time to do everything. So I just want to kind of do that clarification there for everybody. So to kind of jump into knowing that I come from adoption and here, my big things that I have some golden rules for adoption that I want to share with y'all. The first one is to make sure that you're always aware of what Daxco has to offer. When new permissions come out or new functionalities come out, visit your admin role and add that permission. Whether you decide to actually utilize a particular functionality that's coming out right now or not, at least it keeps it in your highlight of when you're going into Daxco and you can see it. When I say that though, also bear in mind to keep an eye on whose hands are in that cookie jar. Because a lot of your high level permissions will have impact, especially nowadays, on some online services and how well those user experiences are going. So that's really, really important. The next thing that I would say is that make sure you're using your training site. So I'm kind of reiterating for those of y'all that were online with Becky just right before me, is use your training site. Your training site, it basically mimics your live site. We upload and do the training site to the live site every 3 months, so every quarter. This ensures by doing your testing, you can go onto your training site and you don't mess up your data integrity. You make sure that none of your reports are impacted. So I will say, like, I worked with a customer the other day and they were testing out some stuff and they were setting up new units on their live site. And I was like, guys, do you know that this is impacting your reporting? It's showing up as new units that are joining, it's showing program registrations. I was like, so you're messing up your data integrity, you're putting junk on your live site that you shouldn't. And then second of all, it really does in the long run affect your reporting across the board. So I'll get off my soapbox there, but I just want to make sure that we talk about that on the front end of adoption and that y'all hopefully will follow suit with that. I do have a document that I can share through materials. Becky has already kind of stated that some stuff is in the upcoming releases. But I have a document that talks about testing on your training site, and we'll actually share that document as materials so that you can go and learn throughout your training site where to grab URLs or things like that in order to go in and test what your user experience is online, especially. So with that being said, what is a rundown? So a rundown essentially is what we call, it's a Daxco operations utilization report. It's a high level review to see how well you're using the system. Are you adopting functionalities and features that have been rolled out? And then if you have adopted them, have you implemented them with best practices? All of this is very important to make sure that you are getting the best functionality out of Daxco operations, along with the factor that, and again, those best practices means that your user experience as well, along with that your reporting is accurate and can be used in your data analytics. Lastly, the rundown can help to assist your team in being informed of features and functionality. throughout these past 8 months, COVID has made a lot of changes come around. And one of those also has been great where DAXCO has rolled out a lot of new enhancements. Sometimes people really struggle, again, to always stay in touch with what we are rolling out. So this is a great time when, if you get a rundown, then you can actually kind of look through it, because some of those high level functionalities will be available and be pointed out whether you've actually taken advantage of them or not, along with the factor of that through a consultation call that you may decide to schedule with the team. You may end up having prescriptive discussions around those and find out that you have features and functionalities that you haven't yet fully reviewed, and so therefore have not adopted. So that's what the rundown is, and we'll talk about how to access a rundown at the end of this presentation. One of the things that I want to note here is that your goal for the rundown, if we end up giving them one, is again to streamline processes. That will improve your user experiences in-house, along with online experiences, which is very important nowadays because we know how much people need to be able to do contactless processes and be able to gain and do things online. And then, of course, you can improve your revenue streams, improve your reporting and data analytics. And then again, as the number one goal, maximize adoption of features and tools that are available. Make sure that you're taking advantage of everything that is available. And so with that being said, I do want to note that with the rundown, if I do, and the team ends up providing one to you, all features and functionalities that are overviewed during this process are things that are available at no additional cost over and above what your base cost for DAXCO operation is. So this is essentially what we're saying is everything that I would talk with you about, or my team would talk with you about, is something that you are already have available to, nothing additional. So one of the things I do want to do today, I said I was going to highlight what we have in the rundown, and our focus is going to be on features and functionalities that provide contactless processes. So, or helps you make sure that you're getting things done based off of some of our limitations nowadays that we have, unfortunately, due to this pandemic that we're in. So from here, let's just go ahead and jump in. So one of my big I've been working with a lot of customers with is about membership joins online. So at any time, I do recommend, even if you're already offering online joins, to go back and review your experience. Again, use the training site to test out that experience. Don't do it on your live site. But it's also a big time that people who have not offered online joins are now looking at offering that, because again, as Becky so said in the session before, time is of value, and we want to be able to do things when we want to do them, especially in today's society. We want to do things on our time. So allow your members, allow your program participants to go in and join online. In order to make sure that you're getting accurate data, getting adherence to your association standards, and then making sure also that you're getting full functionality, there's a couple of things that we would recommend that you take advantage of. One of the first things is age groups. In utilizing age groups, you can actually streamline your data entry. So once you do that, your frontline staff no longer have to either choose whether somebody is an adult or a child profile. By setting up your age groups, you'll actually see that when you mark this age group as Ask Child Question, that means that DAXCO will automatically put them into a child profile. That's highly important, because then that ensures that you get full functionality across the board with things that tie into your child profile, primarily around child care registrations. Huge. The other thing is you're going to make sure that you gain insights about your membership makeup. So by doing this, age groups, you can go into your active member by membership type report and go into your unit count. And from there, you can see a breakdown of the demographics of your membership makeup by the age groups that you have outlined. One of the things I'm going to do right before I leave here is I do want to point out that a lot of people get confused that over here, these like naming standards, youth, teen, student, young adult, they think those need to match to their membership type offering, and they do not. This is basically helping Daxco identify your groups that you are doing that are customized based off of how you need to have your membership types set up. So don't get hung up on that. Just go in and work them out. One of the things I also say is work from your family membership and then go into setting up from your youth memberships. A lot of people, when they're offering their family memberships, it may be, you know, 2 adults that live in the same household and their dependent children up to age 24. If that's the case, then you'll need to make sure so that you can take full advantage of things that are available, such as membership rules that we'll talk about, that you have an age group that actually states 24 so that you can pick that and set up a membership rule. The second thing that we want to make sure that we do for a good online experience is to make sure each of your membership types, whether it's offered online or in-house, but especially if it is offered online, it has a membership description in it. As I just stated earlier, my family membership here might be it's 2 individuals and it's aged 19 or older. Make sure that your descriptions have an age range in it. Some people may think an adult starts at 18 and the way you have your membership set up is at 19. Or they may think that a youth membership goes up to, you know, 18 and yours may be 17 or something like that. So having those age groups in there ensures that you're going to provide an educational tool both to your in-house staff and to your online users so that they are going to select, I can talk today, I really can, select the appropriate membership type so that you don't get cart abandonment or get people that are frustrated. You'll notice that I did say in-house. I come from a membership background when I worked at the YS where I started, kind of that's my love. And so I always tell people, most of the time your frontline staff, they're turning over. You're in a constant training mode. So that if you have these descriptions set up in your membership types, then that allows your frontline staff to use Daxco operations as their training guide. They don't have to go get a pamphlet or look at a book or something like that. So everything can be done in Daxco operations. One last thing about membership descriptions, these do display both in-house and online. So that if you are setting them up, make sure they are in layman's terms and things that would help educate and make sure that your online users are selecting the appropriate membership type and know what that membership type is offering. The last part of this that works in collaboration with this is membership rules. If you are offering online membership, I almost say this is a must. You must have a membership rule on your membership type in order to offer online membership. This ensures that you get adherence to your association standards. So again, if you have a family membership that allows 2 individuals and then possibly, you know, dependents up to age 24, you can actually set up a rule for 2 here. Limit your exposure depending on how your community makeup is, and maybe put a rule for 2 young adults here. And then even down here for your unlimited. I always kid around and tell everybody, I was like, you know, you don't have to put a limit on it, but I would say if somebody has 10 children on their membership that are 18 and younger, might need to have a conversation with them. But again, all of this does is make sure that you're getting adherence to your association standards. And so then you're not having to be reactive to somebody and then contacted them and saying, hey, Christy, I saw you joined online, but you chose the wrong membership type. So actually you owe us X dollars more and we're going to change you to this and your draft's going to be, you know, this much money. That's just a bad user experience. It's not good. So again, these all are protections to make sure that you can make sure people are joining online, getting the proper experience, and then you're not having to be reactive to the process they're out there. One of the things to note also, I don't have a screenshot on this, but throughout the process of Daxco operations, there's several places where you can customize your user experience also by grabbing specific URLs to your membership types. So each membership type has its own URL. So if you want to, you can use that specific membership type URL, embed it into your website so that if I see adult membership And beside it, I see a join now. When I click on that, it takes me to the screen where my adult membership type is already chosen. And then I just start entering my data regarding my email address, passwords and contact data and stuff. I don't have to go to a screen where I've already chose adult, go to another screen, choose adult, and then start my sign up. So again, it streamlines that process so that you can actually get a better cart experience out there. The other thing about joins is specific to both in-house or online is sometime back, Dexco rolled out agreements. A lot of people are finally starting to take a new look at agreements. It's a twofold because COVID has brought some new processes to all of us, but also for the factor that more and more we are wanting to go to a paperless, contactless type process. So in Dexco agreements, you actually have the ability to set up agreements for membership, programs, childcare module, which is childcare or camp, and you can get those agreements during the join process and or the registration process. During this process also, you can capture a signature, an e-signature, and or you can have an I agree field where they type in their name. And once they do that, that agreement then lives on their unit so that you can go back at any time and be able to go back and print it out and be able to see the time date signature that is on that. So again, it helps with that contactless process. This is really used a lot here lately due to the fact of we have COVID. So some people have had to quickly make changes or either their insurance company has required them to get COVID behavior agreements. So one of the things that Dexco did in order to help out in this process is you can mark a membership agreement as required for check-in. What does that mean? What this means is that if Christy Brown joined, 5 years ago, and we had her waiver of liability, we had her payment authorization, but now we need to get her to sign a COVID behavior agreement, we could actually mark that agreement as required for check-in. And Dexco would track and help you manage to make sure that Christy Brown actually signed that agreement prior to her check-in at the facility. So again, it says required for check-in. There would be alert if Christy happened to come and scan in at your facility and she had not signed that required agreement. And what it would show on the screen is to alert your staff that Christy needs to sign the required agreement. So what does Dexco do? This sounds a little overwhelming. So how do we do this? We have a facility agreement report. It is a canned report that is available up under membership and reports. That will, once you have enabled required for check-in on an agreement, it will actually provide data to help you know who has signed it and who has not signed it. So again, we will help you track and manage it. One of the things that is really great about that is you can do a customized touch point with your members, and through the report, you can pull unique URLs that are available per unit, and you can email them out, and they literally just click on the unit that comes in that URL that comes in the email, and they can sign the agreement, and boom, it's populated to their unit in Dexco operations. That way is the cleanest and most efficient way to do it. And then once they sign it, real time it updates in the report to show that they have signed it, because there's two different things. You can pull a report that says not signed and one that says signed. One of the things to note about the unique URL experience is that that link expires and will create expires at 14 days. So at day 15, you can come back out, run the report that has not signed, and you'll see all the people that still have not signed. And if you want to do another initiative to touch base with them, you'll have that ability to do that. So you're like, okay, Christy, that's all well and good, but what if, Christy Brown walks in and she hasn't signed that agreement? There's a couple of different things you can do at that point. You've heard throughout the day, I heard somebody talk about it, QR codes become very popular in all of our lives nowadays. A lot of people are like, what's a QR code before nowadays? And pretty much any restaurant, any type of place that you walk in, it's like, here's your QR code to look up the menu. So you can take the URL and turn it into a QR code where the person could come up to the point where they literally walk over, take their phone, click on the scan the QR code, and then it would take them into an experience to add their barcode and their last name to match them up to the unit and DAXCO operations. And then at that point, they could sign the waiver and then come right back and scan in and use the facility. You can do that way. You can also take a URL to your website, even like point people to your website and say, hey, we need you to sign these new agreements, whether it's because of COVID or whether we're trying to go paperless, and we need to update documents, whatever. And then they can go in on your website, or either you can point them to your website to click on that link. Again, at that point, because it's not unique to the particular member, they would have to enter their barcode and their last name to match up the unit in order to make sure they could sign those agreements. Last but not least, and this was something that Becky and M's team pivot earlier. I heard people like, I'm sorry, I'm tired of hearing pivot, but we did to make that pivot to where if you wanted to capture a signature through a program sign up or something, if you feel like some of your members are not very tech savvy or they don't feel comfortable with it, you can set up a standard program, attach that required membership agreement to that program, and then through that process of registering them for that program, you can capture their signature and use the Topaz product in order to actually do that. So there's a lot of different ways to do that, but the great thing that I would always tell people, if you haven't thought about being paperless yet, you've always kind of like, it just seems overwhelming, it is an opportune time to take advantage of this required for check-in. And then this way it will help you track and manage and make sure that those members have signed it and go to that paperless process. And then, last but not least, help save the planet and quit killing trees. And then you don't have to go through those 4 file cabinets that Becky was talking about earlier to try to find that paperwork for Christy, who joined 5 years ago. So that kind of cuts down that process too. So the next thing is talking about online settings. And I know Becky just kind of talked about online settings and the new things that are coming, but this is more about allowing your members to be able to self-service themselves. So within online settings, you have the ability to make a decision about what your members and program participants can and can't do online. Some of the great things that are out there is viewing program registrations. Maybe I registered for a program last week, don't remember when it starts, all of that. So we end up doing, I can go out and see it. I can print receipts, donations. I can print my do capacity status, authorized pickups if you use the attendance tracker. There's so much you can do, and you make a decision about what your members and program participants can and can't do. The next thing would be is talking about online social media. You have the ability to put out here either Twitter or Facebook. By putting your organization's Twitter or Facebook account out here, when somebody checks out online, they'll have the ability to either follow you on that social media account and automatically by clicking on it, and or they'll be able to tweet out and or post on Facebook something that's occurring at the Y, so that you get free marketing, free publicity, and you reach a wider audience. And last but not least, we talked a little bit about account URLs. There is a ton of them out here that you can come out here, and these are generalized URLs. One of the ones I say go for is this account management. This right here, we recommend that you will put this on your website somewhere that might say my account, my Y account, my J account, whatever. This allows your members and program participants to easily go to your website, click on that link, sign into their account, and be able to self-service themselves. Maybe I know that I want to register myself for personal training, and I don't want to go through your website or navigate it to find personal training. I just want to know that I can do it. So I click on sign into my account, and then I find my program. So again, it just makes it easier. Another thing that's really great about this and this time period is if you're needing to provide those facility usage reports, payment agreements, they can see those out there. They can look at making payments. If they don't want to give you a credit card over the phone or something, they can literally say, you can go to our website, click on my account up here at the top of your website, sign into your account, and you make your payment online, as long as you allow them to make payments online. So the another thing that's been fairly new for us is membership promos. In the past, we've had another avenue to do this, but it only worked online. So I want to make sure everybody's aware of that. We're coming up to the season where a lot of people have traditionally offered some type of promotion to their community in order to, again, raise memberships and get revenue in. Nowadays, it's even more so that we might be doing a win back campaign or offering some type of process to where you can gain people who have maybe left through all the pandemic stuff that's been going on. You can actually set it up in your discount groups now. And so that we are streamlining process. And through this process, you can actually not only set up a promotion to take off a discount of whether it's a joiner's fee or percentage off or whatever, you can actually schedule it, which is great. Back when I was at the Y, I remember having to set up till midnight or so to set up a rate question. And then I'd have to do the same thing when it went away. So now you can schedule it and it'll just start up automatically. You do have the ability to set up a promo code. So the big thing that I want to make sure that people understand about if you toggle this on and say promo code is that what's going to happen is that in-house, they are going to have to choose the discount group during the join process to make sure that the unit is associated to the discount group and they get that discount. And then online, the person that is joining will have to enter the promo code in order to get the discount. Whereas if you have something that is just across the board, like join in January and pay no joiner's fee or something like that, if you set it up with no code required, that means that as of the date on December 1st, so let's say starting yesterday, we started a promotion. That means that with this, anytime somebody chooses a membership type that is allowed in this promotion, then it automatically gives them that discount and assigns them to that discount group. So again, streamlines things and makes it a lot easier. Gus, are we doing good? Yes?
We are.
Okay, awesome. So something else that's really new and it's prospects. I know some people look at prospects. I've been even talking to them lately and they're like, I don't, yeah. I'm like, you got to revisit it. Promise you guys, Becky and them's team has done a lot of work in prospects. So please look at it. One of the big things that happens with prospects now is we have the ability that you can go out and create a simple form in Daxco operations and then take the link to that form and embed it in your website. Or maybe, you know, as things hopefully get better, when you do some type of offsite, maybe a health initiative or something that you have going on and you just want to gather data from people. What happens by this form is that literally by them filling it out, then the prospect data ends up in Daxco operations prospect tool. And then from there, you can manage, track, and then even convert them into membership and gain data and be able to manage and track them through that process. One of the things that is really great is through this process is that if somebody is in Daxco operations as a prospect, let's say Gus went into the website last week, filled out this form, and then he's kind of done some stuff. He's talked with some people, and then he's decided he wants to join. Instead of him having to come in-house, he's decided he's going to join online, all about self-service. The great thing is that Gus joins online and enters the appropriate data based off the same name and the same email address and things like that, then Daxco will dedupe the prospect and do a conversion for you automatically. This occurs only for your online processes. So just bear in mind that as you are talking to your staff and telling them about the new prospect tool, is they would still need to do searches for prospects in-house and then convert that prospect to a member in order to have that conversion data in Daxco operations. So it doesn't really change how it works in-house, but it does also give you additional processes. You can track tours in there, you can put notes, you have branch specific information, and then you do have a conversion report that lives up under membership reports so that you can go in and see that conversion data. How long was it before they from the prospect to becoming a member? It'll link to the unit and the membership type that they've given you or joined up under. And then also if you export all of that data, then you'll have information to be able to contact them if you want to do an engagement there. And thing that I'm going to plug for one of our products outside of DAXCO operations is for all of y'all that are out there that have DAXCO Engage. The prospect data is fully integrated into DAXCO Engage so that you can set up running initiatives based off of tour status or joins. So again, this streamlines that process and makes sure that you're getting member engagement appropriately. The next thing that is Child Watch Area Check-in. A lot of people, if you've been around DAXCO for a while, this used to be called Area Check-in, but we came out with an Area Check-in due to COVID. So we've kind of had to change some things up. But Child Watch Area Check-in, again, is a way to go paperless. It's a way that you can actually gain and have your facility usage as reportable in a facility usage report along with the history. It will track the time that they're in. And again, gives you pictures and actually will help you with additional capabilities out here, such as you can set up a cap for your capacity area. You can actually allow for members only. And then, as Becky recently said, because I know some of y'all stayed with us through this process, is you can reserve for the area. And again, these are all processes and settings that you decide whether you want to offer these or not. One of the things that you notice I said that track the amount of time that is here. So if you're using this process, it will actually tell you beside the child's name and who checked them in and where they're going to be. It'll tell you how long they've been there, because a lot of people will do it's 2 hours per day per child. So it will help you keep track of how long Albus has been checked in. Another thing that you'll note is in here as a streamlined process is that if a member has a child care note on their member profile, then that note will show up in the Child Watch Area Check-in. So you have a little part over here where you can actually see closed notes and alerts. You can open it. If you do, anything that is out here will show. So this is a way, again, that your staff can see easily into some processes about, Albus has an allergy to peanuts. Or, if it comes down to something even more sensitive as a custody issue, like dad is not allowed to pick him up. These are things that your staff can see very quickly and very easily without going to pull paperwork and find out whether something is allowed or not, or if you have an issue that needs to be addressed. So the next thing that I want to talk to you about is program packages, but kind of like playing off a little bit what Becky talked about. Mine is more about the instructor redemption website. So if you're actually using program packages, we have a fully integrated mobile responsive website separate from DAXCO operations. It's called the Instructor Redemption website. We actually provided this tool because we know that a lot of your instructors that are doing your personal training, maybe even private swim lessons, your massage therapists, they may be people that you don't necessarily want them to have access to DAXCO operations. They may be contract people. It just depends. So we have a separate website that literally you can give them access to, and then they can manage and track and be able to do redemptions within that instructor redemption website. Within this process, you'll actually have the ability to choose a person that has an outstanding session on their program package, and then from there make a decision of whether you want to redeem it or not. One of the great things about using the instructor redemption website is that you can capture a signature for the redemption. This is not available if you do a redemption through the member profile and or a roster redemption. So this is the one thing that you do gain through this, not only the factor of that your personal trainer will use them, we'll pick on them a little bit. Most of the time they have the nice little thing called this cell phone in their hands. And since it's mobile responsive, they can easily, at the time that the service has been completed, pull up the website to the instructor redemption website. That's probably where they can bookmark on their phone and be able to capture and redeem, capture the signature and redeem that service rendered immediately when that service is completed. And all of that data is automatically uploaded to DAXCO operations program package rosters. There are two permissions regarding instructor redemption. One is basic and one is an admin. So depending on whether you want your instructors to be able to do redemptions, no matter whether they're assigned to them or not, or whether you want that instructor to only do redemptions for members that are assigned to them, you can make that determination there. And then I put down here, scheduling appointments is coming soon. So Becky kind of a little bit stole that thunder out there. But yes, eventually we do have a scheduling component that even will build this in. That's why you see here that if you had the instructor, you would have a time aside here if it was an appointment or something like that. And you would have even more insights as to whether this person should be doing, having this service rendered today. So a lot of that's coming that allows them, again, self-service, be able to do those processes. And then the last thing that I want to say about the instructor redemption portal is that when the redemption occurs, an email is actually sent out to the member to let them know that that service has been completed. And then within that process, it'll actually tell them who they trained with and when, and then it will give them whether they have any sessions remaining or not. So this is a great retention way. So your instructors are going to see this too as they're doing these processes, and they'll be able to say, hey, Sammy, do you know you're using your last session today? Would you like to go ahead and buy some more personal training packages or personal training sessions today? So there's a lot of things that you can use this for, but it could be definitely a revenue or retention process by using this particular process. Next thing is the attendance tracker. Again, a separate mobile-friendly website that is integrated into our childcare module of DocsGo operations. Again, another way to go paperless and be able to make sure that you have those check-in, check-outs data that's in DocsGo operations, and then it is actually reportable and be able to report on, extract, and be able to manipulate the data if you need to, maybe for your third-party vendors like DSS or DHS. Through this process of using the attendance tracker, all of your registrants for that childcare or camp program that occurred today, that are registered for today, they would automatically populate to the attendance tracker. And from there, you can do a check-in or check-out, and a signature is captured during that process. We do also have processes where you can see additional data regarding your registrant, such as view profile. This is one of the big things that I push everybody on, is to use your questionnaire in your child care and camp programs. Why do that, Christy? The reason is that all of that data in your questionnaire then is available in the attendance tracker. As you'll see over here, we have a little link that says view Q&A. So if you've asked those questions and gained those answers during the program registration in the questionnaire, then your counselors, your offsite directors, wherever the attendance tracker may be actually providing the service at, they'll be able to come in here, click on the link, and then be able to go in and see all of the questions and the answers that were given during the registration process. So this could be regarding allergies, emergency contact information, information regarding the parent's work, email addresses, any of that, all of the things that you would normally ask on a registration form. That would be something that we would say, put it in your questionnaire, digitize that information, then it makes it available in the attendance tracker. And then also you gain the ability to be able to report on it in DocsGo operations as you need to. Because all of that data also is available in your Q&A roster in DocsGo operations. Along with it does carry over to custom reports so that you can build out custom information off of your questionnaires if you need to. Some other things to note out here about the attendance tracker, if you click into an individual children, this is the screen you get when you click that view profile, but you'll see that I have a picture of Lincoln, have all of his information that's pertinent from his member profile. You also notice that anybody who is listed as an authorized pickup will show here too. This is Gus's son, by the way, if y'all haven't put this together yet. And so you'll have all of that data there. You have all of the registrations that are currently going on, again, with that link to the Q&A. And again, these are the child care notes. If there is a child care note on Lincoln in DocsGo operations, it will pull into the attendance tracker so that you can report on it out there. So I know I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you, but we're also kind of gaining some time. I tried again paring down the rundown, so I'm trying to throw as much as I could in here, but so I'm throwing a lot at you at one time. So stick with me. We're almost finished. The last thing, or one of the next things, is corporate membership billing. Again, third-party billing. One of the worst things in the world to happen is have a balance showing on a unit when that member is not responsible for that particular amount when it's being paid by a third party. Use corporate membership billing to end up managing, tracking, and receiving those third party payments so that you don't have that experience occurring with your members. You actually also have the ability to enter within the unit a employee number, and or you can mark the individual member as show facility usage, and all of that data then ends up pulling into your corporate partner's organizational unit in DAXCO operations, and then you'll have the ability to have facility usage reporting without going out and using custom reports or something. You will also have the ability to where that employee number populates to invoices, to enrollment agreements, to facility usage. All of that shows out there. And then one of the things somebody asked about earlier, corporate portal. So by using third-party corporate membership for third-party billing, we do have a separate website. It's called the corporate portal, in which you make the decision if you want to allow your corporate partner to have access to this portal. And within that portal, you make a decision of like what they can and can't do. So whether can they go out and remit payments on it? Can they look at facility usage? Can they see who is enrolled at their at the Y based off of their third-party membership? All of that's there. So you can go in and invite, say, I'm going to say, Becky, hey, you're pretty good at helping me out with your corporate membership and your HR department. So I'm going to say, hey, Becky, can you, I'm going to give you this access to this portal. And out here, you're going to be able to remit your payments once they become calculated and available. You can pull your facility usage reporting. And then even sometimes you might say, hey, Becky, can you go out and look at the listing of all of the people that are listed to your account and let me know, is everybody still working for you? Is anybody out on the leave of absence or something like that? So then you can kind of have a proactive approach as to whether you're going to get paid or not. So corporate portal actually is accessed individually. You give it to them, but in online settings up under the systems menu, it's where you make a decision about what your corporate partners can and can't do online. So there's two different areas there that you can control this process. And then corporate, the next thing would be automated program scholarships. So again, about servicing online, opening it up to everybody. This is the best thing that I think about this, is allowing your scholarship recipients to be able to go in and register online just like everybody else. I think this keeps from making people feel different. Again, those are some touchy situations, knowing whether somebody should or should not get a discount. All of that is controlled through this automation of programs. There is a permission that is available. If you give it to your user, they go into the unit and then they set up the percentage based off of programs, childcare, or camp. And then they set a date range that percentage would be available. And then they select members that would have that ability to get that scholarship. So that's the frontline part. The second line part is within your programs. You go into your programs and you make the decision. Maybe we give program scholarships on karate, but we don't give it on personal training. Maybe we give it on traditional camps, but we don't give it on specialty camps. Y'all make the decision of like where that is actually offered. What the great thing with that then, when somebody registers for one of those programs, they're eligible for the scholarship, then they would end up being able to just register the person completely. DAXCO would apply the discount. Your frontline staff don't have to do it. You don't have to worry, did they choose the right adjustment? Did they apply it correctly? Did they calculate it correctly? Any of that stuff. All of that happens automatically. And then last but not least, one of the things that's really great about this is it all lives in the scholarship summary report. So meaning that anything that happens automated, you can go into your scholarship summary report And it is broken down by camp, child care, and programs. And you can set your date range and see how many dollars have been discounted during that date range you have chosen. You actually have the ability to pare down to individual areas of programs, child care, and camp. And then from there, if you want to go into that individual percentage, and then you'll see the person of who it was given to, what type of program it was, what instance or session it was given to, segment it was given to, and how much it was. So you get great insights to this. I would have loved to have had this back when I worked for the Y. My CDO would walk in every once in a while and say, "Hey, Christy, can you tell me how much money we've given around out in program scholarships to date?" And I'd be like, "Can you get back to me tomorrow? I need a little time to go in and kind of pull this information." Or the other thing I was dependent on the factor, did my frontline staff actually put in the adjustment correctly? So that no longer becomes an issue. Everything is streamlined and you get a separate reporting. One thing to note, I always tell everybody, is that if you do use this automation process and you still use a manual process to where you are manually adjusting off some on the account balance screen, it lives in two different places. Anything that is manually done is in the adjustments adjustment summary report, and then anything that is automated will show up in the automated program scholarship report. So two separate reports. And then the last thing that I just wanted to run across is virtual areas and virtual check-in. So when COVID first came out, everybody was trying to come out and get virtual content out there. And then the next thing is we'd really like to kind of see who's using our virtual content. And then at one point, even some of the insurance companies were saying, well, if you can prove that somebody's accessing your virtual content, we'll pay you for it, or things like that. So we originally came out with virtual check-ins. Virtual check-ins is totally different from virtual areas. So I do want to make a distinguishing factor with that. Virtual check-ins means that if you use that URL, then basically anybody who has a valid barcode can enter that in and access the content that lives behind that that virtual check-in. Virtual areas means that you can go in and set up business rules. So meaning select specific membership types, make sure they're paying a reoccurring fee, whether they're active or inactive. And so when somebody goes in and enters their barcode, if they do not meet those business rules, they would not be able to successfully check in and then gain access to that virtual content. One of the great things about this process is that it's all reported in DAXCO operations. So you can go in and see that particular virtual check-in and you can see it by area. So if you set up a virtual area that might say active older adults or children's education, and somebody's checking into that particular area, virtual area, you can report on that and see what specific area they're using, when they're using it, and then who that person is that's gaining it. So some whys. And I will say, listening to some of the talks over the last day or so, especially when we were talking about should it be free, I heard a lot of talk around we shouldn't be charging. So some of this, when I was looking at the slide again today, I was like, well, kind of like it depends on where your association is with this, but basically why would you use it's a way to keep and engage and gain knowledge on who you are engaging through your virtual content. A lot of people are going to virtual memberships, and so you can have specific content for those virtual members. And then even some people have talked about maybe they offer premium content. I kind of think about some people do CrossFit, and they have to pay a specific, have a specific membership type and or pay a reoccurring fee to get it. That's kind of like where this would live. So last but not least, I'm actually going to skip on over to the last page because we're right at our time, is if you are interested in getting a rundown for the first time ever for your association, agency, or organization, and or if you're interested in getting an updated one because it's been a while since you've seen one and you're not really sure that y'all have stayed up to date or how well are you currently using DAXCO operations, you can visit the DAXCO Help Center. And up under support, there is a link that says DAXCO Operations Utilization Report. You can go into that link fill out the form. It'll send my team an email, and then we'll get the report done for you. I usually turn them around, give or take, within 2 to 5 days. And then at that point, you'll be offered the ability to have a consultation call if you like, to discuss and review the results to help your team make sure that they understand what they're looking at. So I know we're right at 50 minutes. So Christy, Gus, y'all tell me what's going on here.
You're good. We have a couple of extra minutes for Q&A. So we will start our final session in the main room at 3 o'clock. So if we want to take a couple of minutes for Q&A and then give everyone 5 or so minutes to run to a restroom or do the stretch break.
Gus, you tell me what we've got going on out there.
The only question we have right now is from another Christy who is on the call with us, just asking if the scholarship summary is included in DAXCO operations or is it a separate cost? I would say there's no extra cost to it. It is a back-end feature, so if you are looking to do that, you would definitely want to reach out to customer service to get that enabled, but I would also highly recommend setting it up on the training site first to make sure that it works for your organization with how you're setting things up. And I'll turn it back over to Christy Swann so she can elaborate further if need be.
So yeah, automated program scholarships rolled out a while back. Some people have it turned on their sites and some people don't. So a great way to determine whether you actually have the capability currently is go to your finance tab in DAXCO operations, go to reports, and then at the very bottom of that listing of reports there, it should say scholarship summary. And if you don't see that, that means that the feature is not turned on for you. So you would have your system admin reach out to our customer service team, and we can have it turned on your training site and your live site. And then at that point, y'all can take advantage of it. It does not, again, as I preempted at the start of the presentation, is that there is no additional cost for any of the things that we talked about today. This is all included in your base cost of DAXCO operations.
Christy, there is also a question about the URL for the corporate portal.
Yeah, so that is actually, there is a knowledge article, actually, I believe on the DAXCO Help Center. But if I was looking to see who was that asked, I do
that
have
was Tracy.
Tracy. And it does work with both your training site and your live site, so you can do it on both. That was how I kind of got the screenshots. I kind of played around with stuff, and I do a walkthrough with that. There is a URL that is available in the documentation about the corporate membership overview and then the corporate portal. So Tracy, what I'll do is I'll make a note to email you that documentation, but I do believe, Gus, do you know that if it's in the knowledge articles on the DAXCO Help Center also?
I believe it is. Yeah, Becky actually posted the blog post link for it, and
Okay.
it has the links to the user guide as well. So
yeah,
she's one step ahead of us.
There you go. That's why we have Becky on here with us. She's the brains of all this functionality. So there we go. I see something, Chris, you're asking about virtual check-ins. So virtual areas, you have to enable your virtual branch in online settings. And then once you do that, you'll go to memberships and then settings, and then you'll be able to select virtual areas. And from there, when you're setting up a virtual area, you'll be able to choose if you have a specific membership type should or should not be excluded, whether they need to pay a specific reoccurring fee or not, and if they need to be active or inactive. And from there, you'll take a URL that is created specifically for that virtual area and then embed it into your website so that that's where the check-in process would be. I think that answers your question. So yeah, if you have a reoccurring fee, you can select to say whether that person is paying that reoccurring fee or not, as to whether they would have access to that virtual content. More specifically, where I see that more around is, again, like I said, CrossFit. Sometimes people use a reoccurring fee to charge for something additional like that. So if they have CrossFit virtual content, then that would be that you would have a specific membership type. They're paying the CrossFit reoccurring fee. They're an active member. And then if they go into that specific URL to do check-in to their virtual content, then at that point they would have a successful check-in and be able to access that content.
All right.
Just to add on to that too, Christy, I was just going to mention that you can set up as many virtual areas as you want as well. So it's not just one per branch. You can set up as many as you would like. So if you want to have one that's specifically for yoga, one that's specifically for CrossFit or kind of premium content, one that's for personal training, you can set up as many areas as you would like out there in virtual areas.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one reason you heard me say children's education, active older adults, group exercise. It can be whatever y'all decide you want. Y'all say y'all. My southernness really comes out, doesn't it? I'm sorry. But you all can make a decision as to what areas that you want to have, specific business rules around, and then allow access to the virtual content based off of those rules.
All right.